All right, folks, we are halfway home. Show number 2 of 4 here on the LA Sparks 365 Network, your 24/7, 365 comprehensive home for the WNBA and your two-time WNBA champion Los Angeles Sparks. Here, folks, on the two-man show of record that we like to call around here, the guys with the petition, alongside Chris Amanci from the Internet Studios up in Anaheim, California. Of course, Cal McCleary back here with you from Studio 171 in San Diego. All right, Chris, scoreboard out of the way and league coverage done. Now, Chris, we get to talk about a pretty exciting day coming up in a couple of days. In about, let's see, we got about 8 days to go, man. So with that, how's it going?
Nothing much, just, I don't know, just on the news today. I don't know.
So again, folks, if you want to tweet into the program during the course of the show, again, hit us up on Twitter at LASparks365, at CallumAc3, or at LASparks30 with the hashtag TGWTP. Again, the hashtag is TGWTP. All right, Chris. Now, we know, man, that yesterday, of course, we were at the block party. We were at the block party again, but Chris, coming up, man, in a couple of days, we're almost there. In about, we're about 9 days to go, folks. About 9 days to go here. But, of course, Chris, coming up next Sunday, June 14th, you folks have seen us who knows how many times via your computer screen or through your mobile phone on YouTube. But again, you guys will get the chance to meet us both live and in the flesh next Sunday for the first of 3 upcoming LAS 365 host meet and greet nights. Again, that'll be happening next Sunday when the Sparks take on the Seattle Storm at 2 o'clock p.m. at Staples Center. Now, again, Chris, we had said when we broke the news about this last month in May, again, we had said, that, this was something, again, that we had tried very, very diligently at doing, again, was trying our best to, go out there and be recognized, and sort of, let the fans hang out with us. But, of course, Chris, not only, talk about the network, why we do this on a night-to-night basis, but also, Chris, for a way, though, man, for not only for me to hang out, but, of course, Chris, be around, other people, of course, that love the sport as much as we do. So, again, Chris, as we kind of look at this again, man, because we know that, 2 years ago we really got into the sport. I kind of got back into it more so because I've been watching women's basketball for 9 years at that time. So, Chris, as you kind of think about this, man, that, the hard work, the endless nights of trying to get to a game that finally we can finally get this event, confirmed and finally do this and finally be able to finally go to a game as a cohesive unit, man. Early thoughts are what right now as you kind of think about this? We still have about another week to go.
Just pumped up.
Yeah, I think the only word right now to use is pumped up right now. But again, folks, so again, Chris, as we think about this, man, once more, obviously I know that there's 2 more we're working on that are already confirmed that I'm working on getting you to go with us. But again, the one that's in LA, the next one, Chris, may not be able to go through for you because I have personal obligations in Los Angeles earlier in the day where I'm going to be on television on ESPN2 at 12 o'clock in the afternoon that game day morning. But again, Chris, we had talked about, though, man, plenty of times, that it was one deal, again, Chris, that the petition, again, was not made for this reason. Chris, I don't know how much more I can say, again, that the petition campaign was not about this event. It was not about making it for the benefits of us two going to a home game, Chris. But now that we can finally do this, Chris, what's been kind of running through your mind, Chris, as we get closer, though, knowing, again, Chris, Chris, knowing about the significance of the campaign last year, how it was us two, plus Shorty and Trinisha and Crystal Thomas, Chris, putting this thing together to keep the Sparks in LA. But again, Chris, more importantly, man, but again, Chris, more importantly, again, clearly stating, Chris, again, that the petition was not made for this event, Chris. Can we pretty much, explain this any further again that this was not made for this event at all? Can we what do you think?
I don't know. We didn't do it for ourselves. We did the petition for the league, not lose another franchise.
Chris, that's what we had said, on the Sports Lounge and on here the very first couple of months during that during the start of the season, or the network, Chris, was again that the petition campaign again, was not a reason behind this event. Now again, Chris, as I said last night while I was holding the load down for you while you were again being bombarded by, the infamous, security guard up there in Los Angeles, up there at the studio, Chris. That again, man, that as you saw yesterday, man, of how the players had recognized you, other fans recognized you, man. You met some of the other fans, Chris. Chris, that was me last year. When I was solo going to those two games, Chris, again, of how it was, Jack Nick and Vicky, Deborah, and all these other people, Chris, again, that knew about the campaign, and knew who I was, Chris. But again, man, is it more important, though, man, that this event focuses on the network more so than what happened last season in your mind? What do you think, Chris, is this event more so about? Is it about the network in your mind, and meaning the guys, the two guys that are the only, that host the only YouTube channel, or Chris, in that case, the only TV station that covers the WNBA? Or is it also, Chris, in a way, though, also about last year, though, of how last year almost went up in flames for the Sparks last season? What do you think?
I think both.
And reason. Oh, go for it. Sorry about that.
Nearly the Sparks nearly left to either the Bay Area, or they could have folded, and also about this network.
Chris, I think this time around, man, now that it's a fresh season, and now that it's 2015, Chris, that I think that the focus of everyone should be about the network specifically, Chris. I think that the petition campaign, Chris, is sort of come and gone. So that was that's so 2014, Chris. The network is so 2015. So I think, Chris, in my view, I think it's more so about the season and the channel, Chris. Because again, Chris, I know, man, that we've had unprecedented success, Chris, on here, more so than on other things that we try to do with the Lakers, with the Ducks, the Angels, the Chargers, whatever it may be, Chris. That there's been more success here in regards to being approached by WNBA media members, former players, current players, fans, of course, Chris. So I think that the petition, Chris, was so 2014 that the network is the main star now for 2015. Chris, do you agree or what?
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I think the network is definitely the star. So again, folks, as we said, folks, again, you've seen us, who knows how many times here on the network, on your computer screen or your phone. But now, as of Sunday next week, you can again see us live and in the flesh. You can shake my hand, give me a hug, or give Chris a hug, or high five him. But you can see us, folks, live and in person next Sunday, the first of 3 upcoming events, folks. So again, folks, here is the rough outline of events for next Sunday. Now, again, I'm going to be leaving my place, or we'll both be leaving our respective studios and houses early in the day, about roughly, I'd say, between 10 and 11 o'clock, because we do have to drive at least an hour or more to get to Los Angeles. We again, folks, we encourage you again to meet us again at the Star Plaza entryway, which faces Chick Hearn Court and faces LA Live. So again, you guys can definitely meet us there. And again, we are taking group mob shots. We will take selfies with you folks. I'm a selfie king between us two, so you can definitely do that. And hey, Vicky Russo, we'll give you an autograph too. So Chris, we got plenty of stuff to do, and also, folks, we'll have some minor things too during halftime. Perhaps we'll see if we can get that to work out. But again, please meet us, Star Plaza entryway at Magic Johnson statue. It's right on the foot of Chick Hearn Court, facing LA Live. So again, meet us there. And again, we have group mob shots. And again, folks, don't forget, again, the group mob shots are going to be used for both the Facebook fan group profile cover photo and the network Twitter handle cover as well. So, Chris, early thoughts here, man, because I know you just texted me, man, that a few people want autographs, Chris. I think, Chris, after yesterday and how the network and you got on ABC7, more and more people, Chris, are starting to know more and more about this network and about us too, Chris. So, Chris, are you game, man, for the group shots, and can you handle taking a few selfies with a few people? And, of course, Chris, probably something, Chris, you would probably never do in your life. Give someone your autograph. What do you think?
Yeah, agreed.
So again, folks, again, the rough outline right now, again, is more so having stuff done before the doors to the arena open, and also limiting the stuff during the game, of course, because I know we're all going to be scattered across the arena, folks. So again, once more, next Sunday, 2 o'clock tip-off. But again, please plan accordingly, folks. Again, I will tweet out updates from my personal account about what's going on, if there's traffic, in my opinion, or on my way up to LA, I should say. So we will definitely, folks, keep you in the loop for next Sunday, because, of course, Chris, we know, man, LA traffic is god-awful, regardless of what day of the week it is, Chris. So, again, folks, your chance to see us again next Sunday before the Sparks take on the Seattle Storm. Again, game time is set for 2 o'clock p.m. at Staples Center when the Sparks take on the Seattle Storm. Now, Chris, I said my piece about, doing, the mob shots and the selfies and the autographs, Chris. In your mind, Chris, what else should we do other than just those 3 activities before the game? What do you think?
I don't know.
You have no ideas? Nothing at all?
Nothing yet. Nothing's coming to mind.
Well, you text it to me when it pops in your head. But again, folks, to reiterate once more, but again, ladies and gentlemen, just to reiterate once more again, but again, the first of 3 upcoming events for the Sparks 365 Network host meeting agreed on again next Sunday. Again, we will be taking group mob shots. We'll take individual selfies with you guys, and, of course, plenty of autographs to go around as well. But again, folks, once more, that's what will be happening. But again, you are, folks, encouraged to, our meet and greet spot, again, is the Magic Johnson statue at the Star Plaza entryway, again, which is on Chickern Court, that is facing LA Live. So, again, we will all meet there. We will, of course, exchange pleasantries. We will, of course, do handshakes, fist bumps, and don't worry, folks, my ring will not be on my finger, so don't worry. You won't worry about busting your hand open. Hugs, whatever else you want to give us, and, of course, we'll be taking a couple of group mob shots, and, of course, we can, of course, take individual photos with you guys as well, and, of course, we can, of course, and also, Chris, to up the ante, Chris, on Sunday, we will have a complete wrap-up of that day, Chris, with a hour-long edition of Sparks Fan following our post-game show on Sunday next week after the Sparks take on the Storm next Sunday. So, Chris, in your mind, man, I know that you had Chris, actually, man, let's stay on this, Chris, but talk about the block party, Chris. As we know, man, you went there and represented the network on my behalf because I did have work yesterday, Chris. I know that Chris, the atmosphere was off a chart yesterday from what I saw on Twitter and from Periscope and retweeting everything on the network, Chris. Chris, as you were walking around yesterday, seeing the players, of course, seeing NECA and Lav yesterday, and, of course, getting Tolo and Phillips to sign that photo for me, Chris. As you're walking around, Chris, yesterday and seeing the vibe, around the city of LA for the season, Chris, was it in the back of your mind, Chris, God, I wish Callan was here to kind of talk for me. But, Chris, was it good, though, man, to meet some of those fans yesterday, and also that they recognize you, though, too, from the network and also from Facebook and Twitter, Chris? I mean, how was that experience, though, yesterday? Give us your overall recap.
It was just unbelievable. Right when I got there, Ebony recognized me. Alan recognized me. Pretty much everyone recognized me, and then the assistant coach recognized me. He said it was my favorite player, and I said NECA and Gentel, and he says, I don't know how he found out. He says, I hear you're a big Sparks fan, and just told me that trying to get the community out there and everything, and just the vibe was just loud. Everything.
Chris, like Crystal Thomas said on FAM last night, was that the Sparks need to do more of those events. But, Chris, like I said last night, Chris, those are the kind of events, Chris, that I think every team in the league does, but also kind of has to have, though, to, community outreach, empowering, the females that want to play basketball, or, keep them straight and keep them off the streets, and give them, something to look forward to over the summer, Chris, of course, with the Sparks. filling the void now at Staples for the Kings and Clippers and the Lakers, with them being done, of course, for the summer. Now the Sparks come in. But, Chris, those are the events, Chris, and I've gotten to plenty of those down here, Chris, with the Padres, with the Chargers, with the Sockers, with the Gulls when they were still around, Chris, and now they're coming back, Chris. Those are the events, Chris, that bring the people that don't know a lot about the sport into your product, Chris, as you can go out there and do community outreach, Chris. And, Chris, for me doing it 3 years with the Sockers, man, I saw a great increase in attendance, in fan viewership, and fan participation because you go out there, Chris, you shake hands, you give them a few free gifts, man, and they come out and they go to one game, Chris, and they are fans for life like that. Chris, why do you think, man, I've been here covering the sport for 11 years? Because I went to a game at UConn. Yes, Chris, I know that it's UConn. It's the basketball cathedral for women's players, Chris. But one game going to, Chris, with Diana, with Sue and Swin, Chris, that made me a fan for life because of, going there, Chris, and, being inspired, being motivated, being uplifted, and also, just, watching a game, Chris. That's what got me into the sport 11 years ago, Chris. But also, it's also, how you market yourself, Chris. And as we know, Chris, last year was a bit of a flop because of how late Stan, Magic, and Mark came. But, Chris, this year with Christine as the team president, the entire We Are Women campaign, Chris, I believe wins the award, if we had an award, Chris, for community outreach, Chris. I mean, if there is, I think there is a award, Chris, for the community assist for a player, Chris. If they have one for a team, I think LA takes the cake, Chris, because I don't think I've seen that kind of a event, Chris. An entire block party, man. And I went to plenty of those and I went to plenty of those down here that we threw in our neighborhoods, Chris. But never have I seen such great attendance, great entertainment like I did yesterday at the block party, Chris. And, I mean, you said your experience, Chris, of seeing Kurt, Coach Agler, and, of course, seeing the players, Chris. Chris, in my mind, Chris, it looked like that, Aaron, Mariana Tolo, seeing, and everyone else seeing, Chris, seeing all the players, Chris, it looked like there was a major sigh of relief on their faces from what we knew of what happened last year, Chris. It looked like that NECA, Lav, even Penny Toller, Chris. Chris, it looked like everyone had, kind of that, like, look, okay, there's nothing stopping us this year. Okay, we have ownership that will keep us here. Now it's time to go take back what's ours, Chris. Did you kind of sense that vibe yesterday from the players that, like, this is a major sigh of relief that we're having this block party? Chris, in your mind, let me just say this real quickly here. Did it look like, Chris, that there was a relaxed atmosphere amongst the players, specifically at the block party yesterday? What do you think?
Yeah, they're smiling, and when they were having a break during the signing session. I saw the Denton Lavender during when they were having I think it was Amari singing, and I saw Denton Lavender dancing and having a great time. Also, Aaron Phillips was also dancing, and Tolo, and having a great time.
Tolo and Aaron and Mariana dancing. Okay, I won't go any further. I'm just going to say, okay, but that might be a bit of a rough visual to see, but I'm sure they got some. I'm sure, Chris, they have better dance moves than I do. I'll just say that right here and now. You guys have better dance moves than I do. But, Chris, also, man, because, Chris, believe it or not, man, I do follow NECA on Snapchat, Chris, and seeing what she posted yesterday, Chris, with her and Lav, with Umarian yesterday, singing Post to Be, one of my favorite songs by him, along with DJ Malsey, Chris, there was definitely, a huge burden lifted off of their shoulders yesterday, that they went out there, Chris, made their faces be known to the public yesterday, and it looked like that they were very relaxed and gelled and ready to go for the season, Chris. That's what's most important is, yes, it was a great day yesterday, but, of course, that the players were very, very relieved, too, and they had a very big, relaxed view yesterday as well. So, Chris, quickly, Chris, before we do wrap up here, to go on to our third show of the night, which will be Sparks coming up at 11:05, Chris. Any further things you want to say about how well yesterday went, Chris, at all in your mind? You want to get those off your chest real quick?
Just everyone had great time. It was just everyone was just had so fun. Everyone was all relaxed, not all worrying about all the Sparks owners about either folding or going up to the bear. Everyone was smiling and having a good time talking to the Sparks fans and everything.
Now, Chris, you know that when we were back here celebrating your birthday last July, Chris, of how, I talked about my experience of meeting Candace Parker in person finally after, like you, waiting for a while to, meet her. And of course, I had bumped into her, of course, at the home opener last year when I gave her a high five at halftime, and of course, seeing her after the game against the Liberty last year, getting my 8x10 and my 2-edit sign. Chris, your experience meeting NECA and Lavender, what do you think?
Just very great and just so happy and relieved that I finally met Gentel and NECA, and right when I give them the edits to sign, and when I let one of them keep the edit, and right when I give it to them, they're like, "Oh, I recognize you on Twitter."
Now, Chris, you did have one personal obligation to fulfill for me yesterday. Of course, I couldn't make it, folks. I had to do a baseball game on the web yesterday. So, Chris, you did get an autograph of my two favorite players right now since, of course, Parker's sitting out for right now and she'll be back by the All-Star break. But, of course, Chris, you did meet my two Aussie friends, my two fellow, friends that are, of course, as you guys may know, I've become very good friends with a lot of great people from Australia. For me playing international baseball, of course, playing with and against them. I made a lot of great friends with some people down there. So, Chris, obviously, man, I know that, there's a few personal rules you can't break in regards to players. But, of course, Chris, I let you break it yesterday because, of course, I can make it yesterday. So, Chris, how about meeting Aaron and Mariana yesterday for me? How was that?
Just very great. And Aaron, when I told her about the network, and she sent her
Yeah, Chris. So it looked like Aaron and Mariana had a good job. I already told Aaron I would see her at the home opener. I had a 8x10 for her to sign when she won her first title with the Fever back in 2012. With that, Chris, we get ready to move on to our third show of the evening. Good grief, third show already. Chris, we get ready to move on, man. Any final thoughts you want to say about next Sunday? Go for it.
Can't wait to go to the home opener, and I don't know, Tim, I'll get there because at first Celine picked me up at 11. We're going to Hooters before there, so I just can't wait.
Again, folks, one final time, LAS 365 host meet and greet night with Callan and Chris live in the flesh at Staples Center. Meet us again, Magic Johnson statue on the Star Plaza entryway on Chickern Court, facing LA Live. Group mob shots, plenty of selfies, and of course, we will sign autographs for you guys as well. With that, folks, we'll take another quick break when we come back. Send in those tweets, those IG photos, those emails, and live Q&A. We've got Sparks Fam coming up next right here on LAS 365, so please do not go away.